Guys, welcome back to ASMR Soda, where we talk about darn near everything. But in this video, we're going to be getting the tingles and the chills via motivational, what I assume, my voice, deep ASMR voice. We're going to be talking about life and the pursuit of happiness. What makes you happy? Happiness is a very subjective term. It's ever changing for everybody, and it's ever changing on a daily, hourly basis. You know, a lot of times people assume that they have to feel happy 24/7, from sunrise to sundown. And unfortunately, life isn't like that. Happiness isn't like that. It's a roller coaster. You know, you could do everything you can to wake up in a good mood, to wake up in a good mood, to do what you have to do, to go after it, be a go getter. But if unforeseen circumstances happen, they may affect how you react. And a lot of things, I was talking to a friend, and life is half and half. Life is reactionary and being proactive. We can be proactive all day long, but life doesn't get, I'm trying not to curse, life doesn't care about our plans. It's got its own course for us, and it's up to us to become adaptable, to be able to read a situation and try to overcome it. It's up to us to be able to assess circumstances and make decisions accordingly. We can't just go into things blindly without weighing the risks and the pros. We have to do both. You can't just go blindly into something. At least my philosophy is that some people are successful that way. They blindly jump into things and it works out for them very well. But for me, that's not just how. I don't do things like that. I can't, because I like to know potential outcomes, potential downfalls, pitfalls, right, as they're called. I like to be able to assess the situation and say, okay, this could happen or that could happen. It's kind of like a chess game, right? Life is very much like a chess game. You have to be able to see your move 3 to 4 to 5 steps ahead. You can't just be thinking about the right now. You can't just be thinking about tomorrow. You have to be thinking about long term, right? Your plans. What are your goals? What do you see yourself in 5 years, in 10 years? It's simple, right? If we don't do these things, if we don't plan, if we don't assess, then life is going to surprise you. And life, like I said, does not care. Take it from me. I've been, if you've been following this channel, you know that I've been through some things, right? I'm pretty open about my circumstances, but it's simply what makes you happy. Are you happy in your engineering job? Are you happy? Let's say you're an engineer. Are you happy where you're at? Do you want a little bit more? Do you want to be a supervisor? Do you want to be a programmer? I don't know engineer roles. I just know it's a well-paying job. Do you want more out of life? If you're content where you're at, great. That's fine. But you need to focus on something else as well. Because when we become stagnant in life, when we don't have any goals to try to achieve or anything to reach for, I've noticed that's when people fall into a dark place, and maybe, they go from like sad and unhappy to actual depression. And that's where things happen. Like I was saying, happiness is a wavelength. It's a spectrum. It's constantly going up and down and up and down. You're not going to be happy. Flatline. It's not how life works. It's not how life works, my friends. What you need to do, you need to figure out what makes you happy. Lay out a plan of how you're going to get there, and then start coming up with little goals to achieve that ultimate goal of, what that is. If it's having a family, there's so many variables that goes into, having a happy family, right? There has to be such a fine-tuned balance between your work, your home, your personal life, and giving time and energy to your family, children or spouse, etc. So you have to find what makes you happy. You have to ultimately decide how you're going to go about achieving this. And then you have to accept that it's not going to always go your way. You might as well just accept that up front right now. You could lay out a perfect plan from here to the next 5 years, and I could guarantee you that in the next month or two, something it's going to change because life is unpredictable. I was telling my friend there's only two certainties in life, and that's death and taxes. Taxes right now we can't do anything about, right? Neither can we do anything about death. The only true thing we can do about death is accept that you are going to die. One day, your ticket is going to get punched. And when that happens, would you have been happy with what you've achieved, with what you've done with your life? Not up to other people's standards, your standard. Would you be happy with what you've achieved, with what you've accomplished, the relationships you've built? So once you accept that death is coming for all of us one day, would you start taking leaps? Would you start taking some risks, some calculated risks? Because I'm going to tell you right now, friend, if you're afraid to go ask that person that you find attractive out, if you're afraid to ask them out, if you're afraid they're going to reject you, then you got bigger problems. Who cares if they reject you? If you ask them out, or you ask them on a coffee date, and they say no, okay, go improve yourself, right? Or go find a person that's going to see your worth. You always got to ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? And then you have to really think about it, right? For example, if I take my life savings and I throw it all into the lottery because I want to be rich, I want to be a millionaire, and let's say I have $10,000 saved in my savings account, and I take those $10,000 and I throw it all into lottery, right? Lottery numbers. What's the worst that can happen is I don't win, I lose $10,000. My life saving is over. It's gone. I could always restart it, but it's gone, right? And that kind of leaves me open to other unwelcoming scenarios. An emergency may happen, and now I don't have the financial means to take care of that emergency. So it goes back to what I was saying. You want to weigh the risk to reward. Okay, and you want to find that balance. Like, is this reward worth the risk? Okay. If you're afraid of heights, I think that's probably one of the most common ones. You can overcome that very easily because I'm afraid of heights. And I have found out, I have found out that it's not being afraid of heights, it's being afraid of not being in control. while I'm at those heights. Like in an airplane or a helicopter, it's scary because you're not the pilot, you're just a passenger. And a lot of things are out of your control in that situation. So I think that's a really common one. That's a really good one to try to overcome. And there's little things you can do, right? You could climb a rope, or if there's mountains where you live, you could, go on a hike and just look out at the valley and really take it in of how high you really are, right? You can't be afraid, guys. Man, life is so short. It could end tomorrow. God forbid. God forbid. But life is very short, and we have to take the best of what we can in our lives. We have to enjoy it. We have to go after things. We have to pursue friendships, pursue goals. I don't want y'all to become stagnant and potentially become depressed, potentially become another statistic, right? So, life, happiness, and the pursuit of it. What makes you happy? How are you going to get there? Just, uh, just some food for thought, friends. If you haven't checked out the Patreon, please do. I just started a new Discord server. And now there's merch for certain tiers, a loyalty program. So go ahead and check that out. And I thank you guys for being so supportive of the channel and patient. I'm still working through these camera issues and the lighting issues. I'm still working through it. The audio sounds fine, but the camera, I'm not gonna lie, I am not very happy with. But I thank you for everything from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for liking this video, for subscribing to the channel, for viewing it, for being a part of the ASMR soldier community. Guys, don't forget, life is short and that I've got your six. Guys, take care.